Hello again. And yes, unfortunately, as Oliver Gone questions, oh no, is it happening? It is indeed. I'm kind of trying to keep track of a lot of things right now. But yeah, Fandango looks like he has been released by the company, and he is not the only one. Nope, not that. We've also seen a number of others so far. Fandango essentially on Twitter has thanked Triple H, Vince McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon for his time in the company. When you do that, tends to mean you ain't going to be sticking around. And that absolutely sucks. So far, it's just Fandango who said, "Thank you, Vince McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon. Thank you for the last 14 years. I truly appreciate it." That was 7 minutes ago. And he's not the only one. He's not the only one. We've also seen Tony Nese and Aria Davari, according to PW Insider, have been released. Rhymes, and that's annoying. Ever Rise, according to Sean Ross Sapp, are gone. They literally wrestled this week on NXT. So it's not talent from main roster per se so far, but we haven't had anything formal yet as to the nature of their releases. We've just had, so far, a lot of bits of news, which is its own problems and its own question marks. It's a little bit terrifying at the moment. Oliver says, so Breeze is probably gone too. Such a shame. I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure. And here's the main question that Oliver is asking here. And this is a question I've got. Future of 205 Live. Is there one? Is there a future for 205 Live if they keep releasing the talent from it? At this point, doesn't it make a lot more sense for 205 Live to fold into NXT entirely? That makes a lot of sense. Is it something that you guys will miss? Is it something that you guys will miss? Do you watch a lot of 205 Live? Is that something that sticks out to you? Because I've got to be honest, I have not watched a lot of 205 Live. I'm trying to keep track of everything that is happening here and everything that that is changing, but I don't watch a lot of 205. So I'm not particularly familiar with the individuals who are going at this point. I just hope they stop. Ed says Peter Insider also confirmed Divari. Michael says, do you remember Fandango beating Jericho at Mania? Yeah, they had high hopes. And he came down and he danced, and we got the fashion files. Literally today, we were going to watch Breezango versus the Usos at Backlash way back when. Today, after spoiler warning, we were going to watch that. Turns out we may have cursed him. As regards to 205, Oliver said they haven't got a roster at this point. They really haven't. I don't think I can name anyone on 205 Live at this point. I genuinely don't think I can name anyone. Ed says Breeze is likely staying. We'll have to wait and see on that. It depends what the plans are for him. Is he going to be used? And says WWE said this week they wanted to do more cruiserweight stuff on NXT. Yep, and that's how we've ended up where we've ended up. Absolutely sucks. I'm just going to put in the Discord, can ask people to join the stream if possible, even if you're just lurking. Thanks. No advertise and promote as per usual. You'll forgive me for doing that. Oliver says, do WWE care less about original in-ring stuff now that Peacock has a network? Not necessarily, but I think they care less about driving traffic to the network. I think they care about having an NXT UK because that gains traffic from from the UK, I should say. So that gains its own traffic. 205 doesn't really do that. 205 doesn't generate its own traffic. You have to drive people there from the network. It might just be a case that 205 Live has not had any interest from Peacock. And if there's no interest from Peacock, why would they bother keeping it? It's not something I'm happy to say, but why would they bother keeping it if there was very little interest in it? Michael says, not sure if Breeze just wanted a character change, but his first run in NXT was so much better. Hope he stays around and can go on as a single star. His first run in NXT was with a captive audience. He never really experienced the main roster. The way he developed things on his own was very different. And he found his own ways to stand out. But at the time, WWE were producing a lot of sort of two-dimensional characters. They were. There's no getting around it. They were producing a lot of 2D characters who weren't really creating the drive that they were looking for. That's where we are at this point. They simply weren't creating what needed to be created long term for the main roster. This is one of the reasons that so few people have been able to hit the heights that they need to. Thank you very much, Ed, for your subscription. That is 5 months. You are my original subscriber, and I will always say a big thanks to you for it. No, I didn't read that, did I? Where? I can see it there. Where is it? A message of yours, Oliver, hasn't popped up here. Interesting, but I'll read it here. It's also costing them an amount to produce, not as much as they take with SmackDown, but it's still money and they're still cost cutting. It could easily go. It could go. It absolutely could, because it's not getting anyone over. It's not. It's not developing people, because anyone who can develop will be moved to NXT, and so on and so forth. Still are, let's be real, NXT doesn't have big characters. Those they do are pretty vague. I think Karrion Kross has sort of proven that this week. The big characters that they make in NXT don't translate once you remove all the bells and whistles. Triple H is great at a big intro, not great at the actual depth of a character. He is too important to up, down to let go of Breeze. If they do, Woods will revolt. I've said this several times at this point. The one person the WWE refused to piss off is Xavier Woods, because of the overall power and clout that this man has backstage. You simply cannot risk pissing off Xavier Woods. Jay Quick says 205 hasn't had the Cruiserweight title in a while. They haven't. It's been on NXT. It's all been on NXT. It's not even the WWE Cruiserweight Championship anymore. It's the NXT Championship. Welcome back, Riff Thing. Welcome back. It's also not interesting anybody really, says Oliver. There's only so much wrestling anyone can watch. If you're a WWE fan, I think 205, unfortunately, is the first thing you drop. It's the first thing you drop. We've said I've seen WWE releasing Nice, Davari, Fandango, and Everrise. Why has WWE only released NXT talent? We're only aware of NXT talent being released, but we did talk about this for a while when it came to WWE and NXT and the like. We talked about it for a while, that the plan was they put the list together, main roster talent, then they examine who they can call up from NXT, from 205, from NXT UK. Then once they have those call-ups planned, they release people from NXT, 205, and NXT UK. We've talked about this till the end of time, as it were. It's one of those things. Triple H seems to be able to create an entrance to latch onto. NXT does work rate matches, but that's really it. I wouldn't say it's entirely it, but I will say that you've pretty much hit the nail on the head when it comes to why they're struggling to develop talent, though. Because they are genuinely struggling to develop talent, and this is what they're doing. Missed one. And Oliver says, as we've established, this is definitely true. Some phones go off mysteriously when these things come up. I think there's a reason that certain wrestling journalists are very quick to say releases are coming. I think it's a warning. It's one of those. I actually think I'm going to tweet that because it's something worth mentioning. I actually suspect some wrestling journalists at this point are accidentally encouraging WWE talent to turn off their phones for a night or two. I'll leave it there. Please do retweet my tweet saying that we are live. I will grab it for people at this point and stick it in the chat if you are able. Please share it. That would be a big help for me trying to drive traffic here. So let's catch up. Jay Quick says 205 live in NXT UK will be 2 hours hanging on by a thread, or am I wrong? I can't really speculate on NXT UK. That's a difficult one to say because NXT UK has its own champions. It has its own people. It has its own roster. And it has its own audience. It's not made for a US audience. It's made entirely for a UK audience. Now, if no one's watching it, they'll shut it down, I'm sure. And they'll fold the talent into NXT. But at the moment, I can't sit here and say they're going to shut down 205. We can't guarantee it. I certainly don't want them to. That'd mean a lot more people out of work. Oliver says, hey, Tom, do you think maybe Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville get to head up different brands with the draft? It'll be interesting, as there's already a bit of tension there they've been teasing for a while. It depends. I suspect Sonya Deville might be wrestling again sooner rather than later. With this in mind, I wouldn't really focus too much on the storyline between her and Adam Pearce unless it becomes a big thing. I'd focus more on the storyline between her, Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley. She's definitely on Charlotte's side against Rhea Ripley. I would like to see a Deville versus Ripley feud sooner rather than later. It might not at this point, Riff, but we'll wait and see. It depends who wants to pick them up, as I'm sure they'll have a number of people going for it. Young Drizzy says, hello, Tom. Rough day. And unfortunately, I don't see this over yet. You're not alone, mate. I hope it's over. Like, I genuinely hope it's over. But it doesn't look like it is just yet. Not just yet. Michael says, Aria Davari just got a new shirt 3 days ago. That sucks. That sucks. So far, nothing else. Looks like, once again, my timing was a little bit poor. I'm tracking everything I can. But really, it depends now. It may just be a case that what's happening right now is a phone call that's taking quite a while. I can give you an update on that, Oliver. Oh, missed it. Oliver has said, any updates on Daniel Bryan coming back or signing elsewhere? WWE are still in pole position. They don't believe that he's making any attempt to sign elsewhere. The WWE are confident that Daniel Bryan will sign a new contract with the WWE. Just like they're confident that Brock Lesnar will do the same, they've been offered assurances. However, they were offered assurances by The Revival. They were offered assurances by Dean Ambrose. That didn't work out. So it's an interesting one to keep an eye on. Drizzy says, Davari has a match tonight on 205 Live. It's been pre-recorded, so they'll be absolutely fine. He probably will still have a match on 205 Live. Hopefully he doesn't win, because if he does, it's difficult to speculate that they're going to get a push when they've already been released. It's a difficult situation. Ravi came back to WWE. Love his WWE character, if it even is a character. Yeah, his Daniel Bryan's WWE character is essentially just Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, as it were. There's no real other way about this. It's very much the same. Let's have a quick shout out for everyone in the chat at the moment. I understand that we're essentially waiting for bad news, and I'm not a big fan of it, but it is what it is. Big thank you to Ed Fries, another TV viewer, Aiton, Chayarisha, JMC Cubbin, J Quick, Latina8737, M Selenity, Oliver Gom, Ricky H22, and Shoot Sport-ish. I am, Matt. I am on. I'm trying to make head nor tail of these releases and see what's coming next, which is, of course, difficult in its own way, because I think at this point, things may have gone quiet, but we'll wait and see how long for, because 100% there are more coming. Fandango has been released. It's a big one. It is a big one. And it's worth saying that Everrise, if they have been released now, they've only just re-signed with the company. Only just re-signed. To see Fandango gone as well, this will have a massive impact on Tyler Breeze. A massive impact. So what happens next? What can they do? They are getting rid of tag teams, it seems. And that's not a good thing. Right, let's catch up a little bit. Oliver says, I think you should get a bad news Barrett emote so we can all mourn these damn days where releases happen. I think that's a good idea. I think that'd be great. That's a really good idea in a terrible, terrible way. But yeah, that's fair. I can't get different emotes at the moment because I don't have enough subscriber points. I'm about 4 off, I think. I think I'm about 4 subscribers off from getting new emotes. But yeah, that's based on subscriber points, and I do not have that many subscribers at the moment. Though you are doing well in changing that, Oliver. So thank you there. Riffing says, is Keith Lee leaving WWE? I don't believe so, but I cannot sit here and promise anything. Tracy says, I hope there's no women. The WWE releases so far have disproportionately affected women. They have disproportionately affected women. Riffing says Titus O'Neil is the only jobber that WWE cannot release. I wouldn't call him a jobber per se. He is not used very often when he does. When he is, he's quite often he loses. But I wouldn't call him a jobber on that basis. He did, after all, host WrestleMania. If you ignore the races next to him. That says, "Oh no, I didn't hear." They are just coming through. They are just coming through, and a lot of people aren't going to treat them as big news because of the relative fame attached to the names. It's still not a good thing. Astrid Pizarro is here. Welcome, Astrid. Says, I hope for the same. Their roster is getting small. It is. It is. This is one of the reasons that they are doing the big tryouts in after SummerSlam. The intention is essentially to bring in new developmental talent who can replace all of these, but will start at a lower level and get to a higher level faster. They are hoping that people that they've simply not been able to get over, they can get rid of. Jacob says, hi, late getting back. What's the list so far? Tony Nese, Aria Davari, confirmed. Ever Rise, Fandango. Fandango at the moment is the headline name. Oliver says, so we do think it's NXT and the like then? Not that we want anyone to go, but it seems it's not main roster. Bear with me 1 second. I would say yes. At the moment, it seems to be mostly NXT and not main roster. Pardon me. But the main roster might just have turned off their phones, or it may be a case, and I think it's worth saying right now, main roster talent will already be at SmackDown. They will already be at SmackDown. So if anyone was planned to have been released from SmackDown, they won't be now because they need them to record. They need them to film. They need them to finish their current tasks. The writer's name, by the way, is Kenise Mobley. Kenise Mobley. Riffing says, will NXT get involved in this year's Survivor Series, or WWE relegated NXT again to be the developmental brand? It's not been relegated. It's not been relegated. It's still a brand in its own way. It's just also the developmental brand. And yes, I have been told that NXT will be involved in Survivor Series this year. Jacob says, wow, surprise on Fandango and Ever Rise. They were getting a small push in NXT. Essentially, Nick Khan is making these decisions, not Triple H and not Vince McMahon. Nick Khan has the strongest voice of anyone in WWE right now when it comes to cost cutting, when it comes to releases. A lot of these people are releases that neither Triple H nor Vince McMahon want. And this is further proved by Samoa Joe coming back in. They don't want these releases. But Nick Khan is a CFO. He is a president. He calls the shots. If you can clip that at any point, that'd be great. Matt says, Ever Rise is weird. They were finally building them personalities and story. It just, the intention apparently wasn't to use them going forwards. They've just signed a new contract. Apparently it was for more than Nick Khan wanted. Nick Khan isn't involved in the signing of new contracts, but he does get to get rid. Oliver says, seems strange to be releasing NXT guys when they're about to gut the brand for the draft. It sounds to me like they've already decided who they will be drafting, or at least decided who's going to be coming up. We did talk about this when the last round of releases came in. The intention, basically, releases from the main roster, go down to NXT, work out who can replace those people on the main roster, then releases from NXT 205 and NXT UK. Oliver also says, I wonder how Triple H feels about Khan right now, what with Joe and now this. To be fair, Triple H got one over, but I did report that people in WWE at like the head office are not happy with Triple H for that. It's very, very possible that this is a retaliation. Or at the very least, the plan was that NXT had hit budget. Then you had Samoa Joe. Suddenly you're over budget again. And just like that, they need to cut something off the top. Oliver says Vince can veto. Surely he's still nicely played. I'd imagine he does have veto power, but I imagine he's used that veto power a little bit too much for people like Braun Strowman. At this point, It seems like he released everyone he intended to release, but he's not in the meetings at this point. Earthfang says, why WWE can't bring OVW back? It'll be cool if we see a war between NXT and OVW. OVW is no longer a WWE property. FCW is now the property in question. Thank you very much, Ed, for clipping. Drizzy says, Nick Khan is releasing people that he feels aren't going to make him money. Essentially, yes. It's people that the WWE have had for a while, and Nick Khan isn't confident of their future with the company. Tony Nese, I think, is an example of someone who they don't feel they can push higher. Fandango is someone that the WWE believe they can't push higher. Oliver says, what do you think of Andrew Zarian saying Vince is creating a management structure similar to a sports brand rather than what it was with just him at the top? You may have said this already, but he said it today. Yeah, I have actually said this already. I've got a video on Nick Khan and the changes to the structure that was released on the 30th of May. So I know a lot of people are going to report Andrew Zarian saying this, but I made a YouTube video on this, released it on the 30th of May, and it was recorded before that and released during spoiler warning out there, and I have pushed it on my Twitter over the last couple of hours or so, last hour or so. So hopefully you did, Oliver. I believe you did. But yeah, that's one of the things that I've reported and shared, that YouTube video. It actually got quite a lot of traffic when Nick Khan's name started getting mentioned a lot. A large part of it from here. We've been analyzing Nick Khan, his role. We've been ahead of that game for a little while now. Thing says, hopefully WWE won't release Dane and Maverick. Maverick, I know, is very, very cheap because he was released and signed a new contract for a very low amount compared to what it was previously. Dane, I'm not sure. Devin says, imagine WWE releases John Cena. They are not currently paying John Cena, but they might be very, very soon. And that's the thing. The plan is that come SummerSlam, they're going to go way out. They're going to go very extravagant. You're going to see a lot of fireworks. They're going to spend a lot of money. A lot of money. Oliver says, damn, Vince really is backing away, isn't he? I'm kind of sad about that. I also did a video about that, to be fair. It's one of those. If you've looked back through my YouTube channel, there is a lot of stuff that is being reported and shared right now by different people, and it's there, hopefully well worth checking out. Now, I can sit there, I can go on Twitter and say, hi, I had this first, and I can argue, but what's the point? People who actually check my writing will know what I report. They will know how I report, and they won't sit there and call me a fraud, basically, because you can literally go on YouTube, you can go on my Sportskeeda profile, you can go on my Twitter and see plentiful evidence of stuff that I've reported before anyone else that hasn't been picked up anywhere, but has been picked up when someone else reports it. There is countless evidence of this. Countless. Mal says, this is a public company. I won't pretend that Vince doesn't run the company, but he does have to keep stockholders happy and keep stock prices high. He does, but this isn't necessarily the way to do it. I don't necessarily think this is keeping the stock price high, because you're losing consumer confidence, especially when they lost Samoa Joe, they lost Aleister Black and the like. They lost a lot of consumer confidence. They took a hit for that. Riffing says, should Nick Khan take the place of Vince McMahon as the chairman and the owner of the company? Nope, absolutely not. Ricky H, welcome. Says, hi Tom, could WWE bring another brand, i.e. Evolve, to replace 205 Live? They could, but if they were shutting down 205 Live, I wouldn't want them to. I think with the releases currently happening in NXT, with the fact that people are going to be called up from NXT, NXT is going to need people. Where can they get those people? 205 Live, NXT UK. Oliver says, yeah, Cena ain't worth the money. Who's he ever beat? Never beat anyone. Never beat anyone. Worthless. Conrad says, sometimes you don't get credit for stuff many of us know. That's true. That's true. It's one of those things. I remember when it was August, like last August, end of August, on my Payback preview show, I reported Seth Rollins will be taking time off in November around Survivor Series for the birth of his child. In October, Somebody else reported that, and suddenly it was everywhere, and they were getting the credit for reporting it. That's how it works. That's how it works. The popular guys get the credit. It's like high school all over again. Welcome, Conrad. Oliver says, for the people talking about Eva being moved, Sonia is still listed as an alumni. So, well, yeah, technically she's not an active wrestler, so she would be listed as an alumni. But yeah, they've just not been updating the page. If you are currently watching on YouTube, I remember I may have said this a lot previously, but please do remember, because this seems an ideal time for people to be attending on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like on the video. That helps me grow, helps me find new subscribers, and the like, and it makes a big difference to essentially my future. I've been stuck on just over 550 subscribers for almost a year now. So anything that I can do that potentially brings that number up, I would very much enjoy doing. And anything that you can do to help me, I would very much appreciate as well. Same can be said on Twitch. If you have not yet joined my Twitch and you have a Twitch account, what are you waiting for? We do 6 shows a week. Just go to twitch.tv/Tom Collahue and join me there. Let's catch up. Riffing says, why is WWE and AEW theme songs for wrestlers suck? Last good song that I heard in WWE was of Rhea Ripley. I don't really know how to answer that. There are some songs in WWE I really enjoy. I really like Asuka's. Really enjoy it. Matt says, just realized that sounded like I was defending releases. Just meant I understand why this is happening and it's all about money. It is all about money. And it's still a shame that a lot of people are losing their jobs. Jay Quick says, serious question, would you be surprised if 205 Live makes it till next year? I'd be surprised if 205 Live makes it till next week, to be completely honest. Who've they got? Genuinely, who do they have on 205 Live? Who are people tuning into 205 Live for? Who are they actually tuning in for at this point? Oliver Gom says, Adam Pearce on the roster page and he doesn't wrestle. Interesting. I did not know that. What will it take for pro wrestling to be big mainstream again? Rolling the clock back. Here's the thing. Here's the dirty secret of wrestling. It is mainstream. It is mainstream. WWE has one of the most viewed YouTube channels that there is. It's in the top 10 of viewed YouTube channels. It is regularly at the top in demographics. Raw gets huge wins in the demographics every single week. It is mainstream. We've just got less people watching it on TV. It's just different. There are just different ways of consumption now. It's not just WWE where the audience have been sinking. It's everything. Jay-Z says, do you think the idea of Doudrop and Eva being together was cancelled because of the backlash? Possibly, but I think they will just continue as they were last week, to be completely honest. Or we'll get some sort of feud with whoever else Eva Marie is representing. Oliver says, maybe you need to make a stupid face and stand in front of a big house and YouTube will stick you on the trending page. I wish it were that simple. I really do wish it were that simple. But the trending page tends just to be the most famous people on YouTube. And I tell you what, who's not famous. This guy, not famous at all. Or reveal that you're pregnant. They seem to promote that kind of content. Yeah, drama. They promote drama. David says, just check WWE released John Cena. Sure. I see WWE covered in so many places now that they weren't years ago. AW2, to be fair. It is mainstream. It is mainstream. David says, oh, you think she's going to be with someone else? I think she'll have a faction rather than just one person. But we'll wait and see. I think it will grow and it will build and we'll go from there. But it might just be they wanted to get rid of the Doudrop name as quickly as possible. Oh. Oliver says, you're famous to us. Bless. Oliver also says, you're going to need a source for that Cena release. I hear Roman's gone too, like Drew was, eh? Yeah, for those who don't know, when it was leaked that releases were coming, we got a lot of people sharing a Twitter, a tweet from WWE from 2014 when they formally announced the release of Drew McIntyre. A lot of people thought they had genuinely released Drew McIntyre, which is a ridiculous thing. So far, It looks like that's going to be it. And now at least it looks like we're fine. Once again, I do want to reiterate that at the moment there is no intention from the WWE to sell. No intention from the WWE to sell. I think at this point, that's it. Possible, even likely they'll be back on again, and you all know this. You all know this. True, Oliver. Very true. Let's check. Riffing says, why is WWE uses all of the latest NXT cultures, managers, or enforcers? They haven't, like Matt Riddle, for example. Mike Johnson asks, do you think Jinder would be added to the Money in the Bank ladder match? I think he could. I don't think it's a bad shout per se, but I think it's more likely personally that he attacks Drew McIntyre during the triple threat match. Triple threats, of course, are no DQ. That he attacks Drew McIntyre, leaving it as just Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Then we get a tease of RK Bro versus Styles and Amos, and then somehow the Viking Raiders get involved, and before you know it, it's a massive mess, and Randy Orton is added to the Money in the Bank match. We end up instead having Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal, which is where they're going. Oliver says, I hear Uncle Dave is being released from AEW. I'm sorry, I really will stop. You're having fun, aren't you, mate? You're having fun. Right, I think at this point, we are going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us again. But I want to try and bring as much breaking news as possible for anyone who doesn't know. It just started, well, maybe more releases, mate. Maybe more releases. Absolutely sucks. No worries, Mike. This is AMA streams. You can ask me anything you would like to. We are going to leave it there. We may, after all, be back on soon. Riffing says, I've seen a post on Peter Inside that August Gray has been released. Just as we were heading out. There we go. Drizzy confirms that. Drizzy, is this from Peterborough Insider as well? Is this also from Peterborough Insider? Saying August Gray from 205 Live has been released. Okay. Peterborough Insider are reporting that August Gray has been released. I have to ask, what next for 205 Live? Oliver, don't you worry. Essentially, I will stay here as long as people are chatting and asking questions. As long as people are chatting and asking questions, I will stay. Okay? That's basically my plan and how I operate. After all, one of the most important things here is that I got you, Ed. It is one of those things. I want to report the news here, but we can all do it together. We can work together here. And we can share this, just like has happened. Thank you, Riffin, for bringing that to our attention. So we can talk about that. We can talk about the fact that 205 Live seems to be in trouble right now. That's not even a name I knew. Drizzy says, yes, that was from Peterborough Insider. Again, I've addressed this, Oliver. You talk away. You just keep talking. Mike Johnson says, is Keith Lee next to be released? I have no idea. I don't see it. Keith Lee is on the main roster right now. He is out for an undisclosed reason. And I don't believe the WWE intends to release him. Jay Quicker says, I predict 205 Live will be future endeavored. Yeesh. SRS, quoting Peter Insider, so likely, yes. This is bad news. It shows that they are still going as well. It sounds like that phone call took a little bit longer, which is naturally very unfortunate and not what we want to see at all. It's one of those, I don't want to sit here and say this person or that person is getting released. even if I get news about it, because it just feels rude to that person. Just feels massively disingenuous and a little bit hurtful, you know? A little bit hurtful as well. Yeah, Oliver quite rightly saying, if you see that Stanford area code, don't pick it up. I mean, it doesn't change the fact that it's so damn heartbreaking. Yeah. We're going to make jokes. We're going to have a laugh about it. We're just going to try and stay sane. But ultimately, this is a very bad day for a lot of people. Just a lot of people. Jizzy also saying August Gray has a match tonight. It sounds like everyone who's actively on 205 Live and regularly gets featured are going. So I have to ask the question, is this our last 205 Live? We have to ask that question. Mike Johnson is asking, is Nick Khan behind all of these releases? Yes. Nick Khan, essentially from this year onwards, has been the driving force behind the releases, and there have, as we know, been quite a lot of them. Michael says, I was excited for 205 Live after the Cruiserweight Classic, but I could never get into it. I tried on a number of occasions. I watched it initially when the Cruiserweights were also on WWE Raw. I watched it when we had Buddy Murphy involved. I watched it during the tournament for the championship when Roderick Strong was there. But it's one of those. They could have done a lot more with it, but it's just become a complete afterthought. There are no draws there. There are literally no draws on 205 Live. They just accepted very low viewership, if any. What is the viewership of 205 Live? Does anybody have any information on it? Oliver says Khan is going to be the biggest heel in the IWC soon. Dude is ruthless. Making money. He's making money. Oliver says, I remember that. They used to change the ropes and everything. Everything went purple. When Neville was the champion and they had a Cruiserweight Championship match on every pay-per-view, that was the heyday. That was the highlight. That was when everyone was watching 205 Live. And Riffing says, the only good thing about releases is that wrestlers now have freedom. WWE really knows how to bury the wrestlers and to depress the fans. I wouldn't say they necessarily bury that many people. The definition of bury is not to not use. It is to intentionally reduce the value of an individual. Just reduce the value. So I wouldn't say they bury them. They just don't use a lot of people. They're not very creative. Mike says, I'm worried about all these budget cuts. Will NXT be out of USA Network? I don't believe so, no. The USA Network deal carries on for quite a long time from here. I believe it's a number of years. Don't quote me on that. These budget cuts, I suspect, are more to do with the amount of money that they intend to spend at SummerSlam and the amount of money they intend to spend on their big plans when touring returns. I believe they are preparing for the possibility that they're simply not going to have full house after full house after full house. You've got to remember, they didn't have full house after full house after full house before coronavirus set in. Oliver says, Ray would have been the only savior for that brand, but it would be such a waste of his name value to put him in a spot like that. If they'd made it bigger to start, Ray would have been perfect. Finn Balor as well, I feel, would have been perfect if instead of going from NXT onwards, he went from NXT to 205. Controversial name, yes, but Velveteen Dream would have helped it. Would definitely have helped it. Mike says, thank God for NXT. Well, you say that now. I think essentially what's happened here is they've gone down, looked at who they want to bring up, and they've said, they've looked at people and said, if we don't bring them up, we need to release them. So they have. And they've been released. Right, let's have a quick check. Nervous. Oliver says, WWE aren't a hot ticket and it's their own fault, and their TV during the pandemic ain't convincing anyone to buy a ticket. WWE are more based on individual draws and storylines. Sasha Banks, Edge, people will buy tickets for them. People simply will. He says, seems like Tony Nese, Fandango, Everrise, and Davari. Yep, so far them and now August Gray, also of 205 Live. So it seems like 205 and NXT releases at this time. Riffing says Jackson Riker is protected. Not sure I see where you're coming from there, gotta be honest. I wouldn't necessarily say he is. Mike says, I think Vince doesn't care about recent releases because from SummerSlam, WWE will be getting Brock and John. Basically, yeah, that's basically the nature of the beast there. I don't know for certain whether those people will be there, but I've reported in the past that it seems likely. Rumor mill is certainly leaning that way. They're going to cost a lot of money, though. They're going to cost a lot of money. And I think if they're hoping to get The Rock's going to cost a lot of money. So they may need to free up some funding while they can. Braced 1979. Welcome, Braced. It says, thanks for all your work, Tom. Love Intercontinental Adventure. Thank you very much. Because of the way that we do the Intercontinental Adventure, for those who don't know, I have a show on the PW Touch VIP network with my colleague Nick Barbati, the Nick and Tom Intercontinental Adventure, where we break down the week in WWE. And Nick has been on this channel as well and will be again in the future, I'm sure. But it's one of those. We don't really find out who's watching, if anyone, or listening, I should say, because it's a 1 hour podcast format. We don't really find out who's listening. So it's nice knowing that people actually are. So thank you, Bracester, for coming in. Hopefully you have subscribed already, and we'll see you again. If not, you can always go to twitch.tv/Tom Colahue, where we do 6 shows a day. Not a day, that's wrong completely. 6 shows a week, 4 wrestling shows, full of wrestling news, a watch along for Raw and SmackDown, and then gaming shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oliver says, not enough to fill arenas though. UFC got a full house. We'll have to wait and see. We'll genuinely have to wait and see. We can't say that at some point. We can't say that just yet. Mike says, you're doing great work, bro. Thank you very much, Mike. I very much appreciate that. I'm trying my best. Trying my best to grow as quickly as possible. Jesus fucking Christ, Tyler Breeze. Drizzy is brought in with sourcing. Thank you very much for sourcing, Drizzy. Tyler Breeze is gone per Fightful. Shit. Just shit. Oh, god damn it. WWE couldn't make Tyler Breeze a star. Tyler Breeze will make himself a star. Wherever the hell he wants. Up, down, down is going to look very different in future. And once again, join the conversation on Twitch. Ultimately, I'm still trying to make a living here. Don't like it, but still got to try and make a living, isn't it? Twitch machine. To be fair, this is my second stream on Twitch so far, with at least one more coming. Jobber Dwayne is irrelevant anymore. No. Hello, AJ. Welcome to the show. Riff says Tyler Breeze was released too. Yep. Mike Johnson says Tyler released. They couldn't make Tyler Breeze a star. How can you not make Tyler Breeze a star? Absolutely ridiculous. It's infuriating. That's hit me hard. Need to take a brief moment here and just try to work out what a phenomenal screw up. Absolutely phenomenal screw up. Sorry, guys. I know I'm supposed to be the host and everything, supposed to be trying to entertain and keep the lively discussion going, but yeah, that one's upset me. Right. So, if you're watching on YouTube, please do remember to click that like button. It helps me grow, helps my channel. If you're watching on Twitch and you haven't yet, please do remember to click follow, as you'll get a notification every time I go live. If you can subscribe, please do consider it. That's a big help to me, the growth of this channel, and hopefully being able to do this full time eventually. The more people we have in these shows, the more questions we get, the more we can keep them going. So please share, let people know, tell your friends that we are here and doing this one. Everything says, how can WWE fans always be optimistic after everything that WWE did? They can't. I don't think many WWE fans are that. Mike says, only NXT superstars are getting released. So far, yes. But that's not a hard and fast rule. That's so far. Oliver Gorm asked a question I'm very interested in finding out the answer to. I wonder how Woods reacts to this. Maybe he can make us think about it. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I've got to say, it's possible, it is possible that Tyler Breeze sticks around exclusively on an up, down, down contract. That is possible. But I can't exactly sit here and say it's guaranteed. Drizzy said it seems there's going to be a lot more and they're just taking a long time to get them out. Well, they're trying to reach people. Trying to reach people, isn't it? It says we will watch that match later today at some point. We will. We definitely, even if it's just on the Discord. Even if it's just on the Discord, we definitely will. For those who don't know or have not joined our Discord before, let me put a link in the comments for you. If you click here, you can join our Discord and join the conversation pretty much the entire time. Oliver says there's nothing entertaining about people losing their jobs. Absolutely true. You can only do so much reporting this stuff. Yeah, it grates on you. It's painful. It stays with you. It really does. Oliver says, August Grave, a great tweet. Breaking news. Tonight's 205 Live main event has just been turned into a loser leaves town match. Don't miss it. Okay, I kind of respect that. I respect that. Mike says, what is Triple H doing? He can't do anything. He can't do anything. It is very possible, and I mentioned this. I made a YouTube video on Samoa Joe's new contract. In it, I said there were some concerns among WWE management about Triple H acting independently like this. Some people were concerned about that, genuinely concerned about it. So, this may be revenge. Brace said the roster is so thin on Raw, seems crazy to let good talent go. To be fair, the roster is a bit deeper on Raw than it is on SmackDown. My concern right now is the roster on SmackDown, where very few people aren't there every week. I think it's only Sasha Banks and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode at this point aren't used on SmackDown every week. Whereas on Raw, you've got everyone who is backstage there. You've got Damian Priest, you've got Humberto Carrillo, you've got Drew Gulak, you've got Jeff Hardy, Cedric Alexander, Jinder Mahal and his backup. You've got Sheamus. You've got a lot of other people. Angel Garza, for example. You've got people. Just unfortunately, they aren't used. And Oliver says, it's so weird WWE decisions are being made and Vince and Triple H have nothing to do with them. We're so used to Vince doing everything and now he's almost being made out to be powerless. Yep, that's absolutely true. But Vince McMahon, I made a YouTube video saying Vince McMahon less involved than ever. If you are new to this YouTube channel, I do encourage you to go back through my videos, see what jumps out at you, because there is a lot of news there that at some point will be reported by someone else and then will be re-reported by everyone. It'll be huge news. But you can get it here first. Oliver says, and yet SmackDown's a better show. Smaller rosters do mean everyone is more likely to get a spot. WWE has always done better with smaller rosters in my mind. That for me is what made the Attitude Era so memorable. Mike says, what about Damien? Is he in the hit list? I genuinely don't know. At this point, it doesn't look like anyone on the main roster is going to be getting removed, but we are where we are. We are where we are. Thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, Mr. NXT, and secondly, IDKC06 over on the Discord. Thank you very much. Riffing says, should Alex Riley and Ted DiBiase Jr. return to wrestling? If they want to, I would love to see them. I would absolutely love to see them. Do they have up, down, down contracts? They kind of do. They kind of do. I don't think they have specific up, down, down contracts, but Jessamine Duke is working with up, down, down, despite no longer being of the WWE. So, as Ed also brings in, it's a yes and a no. It's hard to quantify exactly. Ricky H22 says, does Vince not get the final say with these releases? No, he does not. He can have a veto. He is still in charge of the company. But this list was not put together by Vince McMahon. It was not put together by Triple H. Triple H doesn't have the power to veto. Only Vince does. It's up to Nick Khan, the CFO, in charge of the numbers, and the president of the WWE. Vince McMahon is less involved than ever. Hang on. Got to do some catching up. Fightful just said there's going to be a lot of ramifications in 6 months in WWE for the releases. Does that mean there's a lot more? I suspect the issue that they have, or that they're expecting, Fightful, is that who do they call up to replace the NXT call-ups if they're getting rid of people who would have been called up? The next level is who they're losing here. They're not losing the level that's going to be called up. They're losing the level that's going to replace those call-ups. Michael also from John Rossap, I think that today's releases will have ramifications for WWE in about 6 months. Yeah, I definitely get where they're coming from there. As regards Ted DiBiase Jr., Ed says he has zero desire. Mike Johnson says, I think AW wouldn't sign everyone who are released from WWE. They won't. They definitely won't. They'd have everyone. Hello, Nemesis Paradox. Welcome to the show. We are unfortunately talking bad news again. Bad news. Riffing says, I've seen someone on Facebook saying that Bobby Fish was released, but I've not seen anything on Twitter about that. This, by the way, is why we check our sources at the door. If we bring information here, if we report news here, we always source it. Any unsourced information, I will always ask for a source on it. And that's why you see people saying this person reported this person reported this. You see people bringing in exact quotes because we try and make sure that on this channel, we are the most well-informed we can possibly be. Oliver says, I wonder what would happen if Khan wanted to get rid of a big NXT name like Gargano or Ciampa. I think Triple H would probably have something to say then, not that he doesn't care about today's people. I would imagine so. I would definitely imagine so. Triple H had something to say about Samoa Joe being released. He definitely had something to say about that because he brought him back. But at the same time, Triple H doesn't necessarily have the power to stop anything full time from changing there. He doesn't necessarily have that. I have questions about how long they're going to keep Gargano and Ciampa there. I genuinely do, because they will get paid more and more with their longevity, and I don't think Ciampa can be pushed any higher. I don't think he wants to be pushed any higher. I think his name will have come up on a couple of lists. I genuinely do. Ed has given a shout out to Nemesis Paradox. For anyone who is a fan of WWE games, Nemesis Paradox is a record breaker and a record setter in WWE games. So you can always check that out. She's about to hit affiliate, just about to hit the requirement of free average viewers in the period of 28 days. So if you're a fan of WWE games and record breakers, check out Nemesis Paradox. Also asks, will the NXT call-ups even want to get called up if this is what is going to happen? Very good question. Very good question. So I know and I can say for a fact that there are a lot of people in NXT right now who do not want to be called up. I can also say that those individuals might be released if they do not let themselves be called up. We're getting to the point now where it's going to be one or the other. It's going to be one or the other. So I think a lot of people want to avoid that. But I look at Fandango and Tyler Breeze, who asked to come back, and I think that's a lot to do with the release today. Nick Khan has been looking at what they refer to as larger contracts and bloated contracts. When you come from the main roster down to the NXT roster, it puts a trigger on you, a cursor on your head. Mike is asking, is it true that Adam Cole will be in the draft? Do you have a source for that, Mike? Do you have a source for the rumor that you're referring to, that Adam Cole will be in the draft? Because that will go a long way to deciding what my answer is. Good thing about Fandango and Tyler mostly. Aria never really got much chance, to be honest. Most people on 205 never really got a chance. Nobody watches the show. Nobody watches it. Real shame. Oliver says there are also NXT lifers, or at least that's the feeling I get. Tony Nese was a 205 Live lifer. Don't want to go elsewhere. No Triple H and HBK like Gargano. They're not the ones making the lists. That's the issue. Oh, fantastic. Nemesis Paradox hit affiliate today. Congratulations, Para. Congratulations. Well, we'll have to get you some subscribers as well, won't we? If I had bits, I would throw them your way immediately, but I am poor, and I apologize for that. I don't see Gargano, Ciampa, Balor, or Cole being released if they don't want to get called up. I also didn't see Braun Strowman, Lana, Aleister Black, Tyler Breeze. There is a lot of people who we didn't see getting released at the moment. So I don't really trust any of it. Genuinely not. Oliver says, at least maybe a lot of indie shows are going to have better houses because of this. The entire wrestling ecosystem may do better with these guys available. Very true. Very true. The WWE is unquestionably strengthening the competition right now. Unquestionably doing that. And I think that's a necessary evil at this point. Mike, I hope you understand that I'm not going to take the source of something on Instagram. If you can't personally source it, I will never give it credence. That's just what we do here to try and track and make sure we're looking after the information that comes in. Oliver says, we know Finn wants to go. I think he said it. He did say it. So he's probably safe in that regard, but who knows? Finn Balor is on a pretty good contract for someone in NXT. Pretty good contract. Mike says, I pray that Adam Cole shouldn't be coming to main roster because he will be buried. I don't think he's going to be buried. A lot of these people who are called up, I hear that they're getting buried. They're not getting buried. The second you move to the main roster, you are exposed to a much larger audience, and your drawing potential massively increases because of that. Nobody who gets called up gets buried, apart from maybe the Ascension. A burial is an intentional decrease in your overall drawing power. Not using you is not a burial. A single bad storyline, not a burial. I don't want to sit here and defend WWE on today of all days, but there is a big difference between losing a match and being buried. In NXT, when someone debuts, they tend to debut with a loss, and people are fine with it. If someone debuts with a loss in WWE, suddenly uproar. I don't agree with that. Nemesis Paradox rightly pointing out, Gargano and Ciampa have said they want to spend the rest of their careers at NXT. It might not be up to them. If their contracts are too high, then Nick Khan will get rid of them. And that's a problem. Riff says, isn't Khan trying to release talent only to re-sign them to a low contract? Absolutely not. He decides on the release. Samoa Joe's return, that contract was not dealt with by him. That was an NXT contract. I do feel that this may be some retaliation from Nick Khan for the fact that NXT, after being told we are cutting budgets, we are cutting costs, NXT signed someone else. NXT signed Samoa Joe. I've reported in my video about the details of Samoa Joe's contract that he came back for less money, but it's still not low money. And I do feel, and information that I had at the time, is that people in WWE saw this as a bad thing from Triple H, undermining Vince McMahon. Oliver says, let's be fair, Adam Cole isn't the superstar look that Vince wants. He won't get the push some people would want. You say that, but Daniel Bryan eventually pushed through. I think it's a case of Vince McMahon is not that involved in the booking. He's not that involved in the booking. Thank you very much for the follow, Hippo Bray. Welcome. You will get a notification every time we go live. We do 6 shows a week. We do spoiler warning at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. EST, Mondays and Fridays. Watch-alongs for Raw and SmackDown. Might not do a spoiler warning later on today because I've done so much already today. But we will still be definitely doing the SmackDown watch party. Mike says, because Vince likes big men, so I thought Adam might not be his type. As I say, Vince McMahon is not that involved right now. Mags, welcome, says, I'm late to the news, Tom. Who's been confirmed as released? Aria Davari, Tony Nese, Everrise, Fandango, August Gray, Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze. Oliver says, what a crap power move to fire people to make a point about a management official's place to make signings. Don't know if it is. That's just the feeling I get from it. TV is bigger than Cole is, though, body-wise and star power-wise. He wasn't always. He wasn't always. Drizzy says, that's so sad. Dewey Foley, the one who runs 205 Live, just tweeted down my heartstrings. I'm going to have to go and have a look at that. Not happy to hear it. Not happy at all. I'm going to find it. I don't want to look too deep into it. Yeah, I'm not going to look too deep into it. You said it's happening, so it's happening. I just can't read it right now. Riffing says, should AEW give Damien Sandow a chance? Nope, he already has a contract somewhere else. Mike says, well, indeed, that's what Tony Nese said. Nick Johnson says, Nick Khan doesn't have a problem when Brock makes 12 million, John 8 million, and The Rock more million. Yeah, pretty much. Because they bring in money as well. They bring in a lot more money to offset that. It is a cost-benefit analysis that Nick Khan does in order to populate his lists. How much does someone cost us? How much does someone make us? When the cost is way over what they make, then he gets rid. And that's definitely a big part of what's happening now. Hippo Bray says, thanks, Tom. Great work. I'm new to Twitch. Welcome to Twitch, mate. Welcome to Twitch. Thank you for being follower 217. For those that don't know, I do have a plan when it comes to my individual growth. When we reach 250 followers on Twitch, we will be playing the entirety of the video game The Last of Us. It is a 15 to 18 hour game. I will be completing it in one sitting on Twitch. The game typically makes me cry about 6 times during it. There will undoubtedly be tears. When I reach 250 followers, we will be playing that game in its entirety on Twitch. And if you're a fan of wrestling news, we also have Spoiler Warning. That is our Monday and Friday wrestling news show that you can check out on Twitch. It is Twitch only at this time. It is Twitch only at this time. Ooh. As we got Daniel Bryan, Oliver Gomez says, then he choked Justin Roberts for a tie and dude's career skyrocketed. You joke, and you're right to joke, but it's still a thing. It's still a thing. That genuinely made him a star. That image went everywhere. Parra says, oh wow, hadn't heard about Tony Nese. He's been around since the start of 205. That one stings. That will undoubtedly be part of the reason for it. Shut up, Chair. That'll be part of the reason for it. The WWE are releasing people right now that they don't think they can push any higher. Tony Nese has never really been a big deal. And he's just sort of been there. So they're releasing him. Will you be playing Last of Us 2 as well, or is that a big no? I will. I will definitely be playing Last of Us Part 2. I really enjoy the gameplay of these games. I really enjoy the gameplay. I just feel I should play Last of Us 1 first. Naturally, if I'm going to play it, I need to hit that 250 followers. Then I'll play Last of Us Part 2. But it's one of those. I've never encountered a game that makes me want to turn it off more. Also, there will definitely be a moment in which I have to turn off the screen. There will definitely be a moment when I have to turn off the screen. If you've played it, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Thing says, will April 15th Black Wednesday become an annual thing? Won't always be Wednesday, so no, but April 15th possibly. That's the audit, as it were. Mike says, I can see plastic clickers. Yeah, just don't watch that part, basically. There's a lot more clickers, just so you know, but you can always pop in and check that as well. It says, Sportskeeda tweeted WWE should release Peacock. Well, the money they get from Peacock right now is keeping a lot of wrestlers in work. So yeah, the Peacock deal is so far a massive failure and a massive joke, but it's keeping people in work, which is something, I guess. Will WWE re-sign Braun before the draft? Nope. Absolutely not. It's not impossible, but I don't personally see it. Almost says I feel shut up chair is called your catchphrase. It's a loud chair. It's a loud chair. I can't help it. Jacob says, how the hell do you not know what to do with Tyler Breeze? Fair question. It has been said it was my initial reaction, but it's still worth saying again. How do you not know what to do with someone the talent level of Tyler Breeze? How can you not do that? It's ridiculous. If you're watching on YouTube, please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps my YouTube growth. And I've got to say, a big thank you to Hippo Bray there for subscribing. Thank you very much, Hippo Bray. You come in, you click follow, and you're subscribing in absolutely no time. Huge thanks for that. That's a big help to me in the growth of this channel individually. Every subscriber gives subscriber points as well as an income, and that helps me to unlock more emotes and the like. So every little helps. Thank you very much, Hippo Bray. And we also have the option of, I've had them twice now, hype trains. Hype trains are a great way to really help grow the channel and get more attention here. And the way they do a hype train is that I've got it at the cheapest possible setting. If 3 different people either subscribe, gift a subscription, or give 100 bits to the channel in one sitting in a 5-month section, you will activate a hype train, which as long as that is active, Twitch advertises this show a lot more. Oliver always gets very, very excited because he's been a driving force behind them. Right. Well, it says, nice tweet from Josiah Williams. Need to remind you and I need to remind myself that this is not the end of the road. Your current situation does not define who you are. Your value and your worth is not lowered because of someone else's decisions. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Parra just said the chair is a supporting star. Yeah, sure. Sure. Also says Andrew Zarian reckons a lot of the previous set of releases will be back by next year, and some like Braun will be in the Rumble. It's very possible. It's very possible because the WWE, the releases they're doing now is with an expectation. Shut up, chair. They're expecting to spend a lot of money in the coming months, and they don't know what their income level is going to be. They're not expecting to sell out arenas, so they're letting people go. They're also expecting to spend a lot of money on SummerSlam, but that's a one-time thing. That's only a one-time thing. Ooh, nope. Michael says, welcome to Hippo Bray. Thank you, Michael, for saying that. Riffing says, WWE officially released the multi-time world champion, future Hall of Famer, The Vacant. Ooh, heady days. Heady days. And Oliver just goes fucking nuts. Well, I think Braun posted something today likening WWE to an abusive relationship, so maybe he isn't feeling it. Maybe. Strong words. Strong words. Last time I was looking at wrapping up, we found out Tyler Breeze was being released. So I'm going to do one more check before I look at wrapping up. One more check. One more look. And then I think I'm going to move on for now. Get myself some food. I think that's our next step. Get myself some food. I'm genuinely worried I'm going to trigger something here. Okay. I know, Oliver. I know. We're not doing Cockahue. Oh, see, that sounds great, but also makes me sound like I'm like Jim Cornette and I just like watching people fuck my partners. So, I mean, that's good branding, but also terrifying in many different ways. Riff says, should Murphy and Black continue their rivalry or form a tag team outside of WWE? I just want to see him work. I just want to see him work. Tom must eat. Feed Tom more. And I'd also like Cook-a-Hue. Is Kitchen Hugh not an easier way to do it? You have to make me sound like a cuckold. I mean, that's an evolution. Cuckolda Q. Do you mean like a pull Q? Because that's a terrifying image. Just so you know. Utterly terrifying image. I think, yeah, we're going to call it there. We're going to leave it and move on. If more releases come, I'll be back on. And I've still got some news on Karrion Kross and the like, but I suppose I'll wait till SmackDown for that one now. Oh, God. Oh, God. Dre says Fightful posted something on Fightful Select. I had a look at it. I don't have Fightful Select. I don't have Fightful Select because of reasons. So yeah, I suppose we'll stick around and we'll find out what that is. What's behind the paywall here. We've got some questions. Paris says, Cookie Hugh sounds like a Pokemon or some weird hybrid. It's not the worst thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world. I mean, I've had some Pokemon named after me. Should Velveteen Dream continue wrestling after WWE? I mean, he's intending to. He's already put the feelers out there and got some responses. He will be booked. He will definitely be booked once his non-compete clause expires. He'll get bookings. Whether he should, different question. This is kind of my fault. The Colic Unity. This was kind of my fault. Got Oliver's on it. We have some notes on today's Nick Khan meeting and non-compete clause for the WWE releases. This is from Fightful Select. Per Fightful and Drizzy. Multiple names that we've heard were set to be released have not yet. However, there were several names that ended up getting released that we hadn't heard about prior, per Fightful. Oliver, I'm loving it. Go for it. Go for it. I don't know if you can tell, but if I actually get upset by something, you'll know. I embrace the meme. I'm a streamer. I kind of have to. Jacob says it has to do with non-compete clauses. Oh, okay. I got to be honest. The big news never seems to be on the never seems to be behind the paywall. Like actual big news doesn't seem to be there. I still remember when the Edge news was behind the paywall, and it was a week after I'd done it on YouTube for free. Good times. See, here's the thing. I was trying to work out a way to make the film Clueless work. And then you get just horrible ideas. So it's either Cluahue, which doesn't quite work, or collarless. So like collarless. Gloomahue. Yeah, fuck you too. Fuck you too. For anyone new to the channel, the way we generally work is if I tell you to fuck off or that I hate you, keep doing what you're doing because I'm having a great time. Nail on the head for Nemesis Paradox. Paywall equals clickbait. Absolutely, it does. Rivthing says, have you ever wanted to become a pro wrestler? I have. I have entire storylines mapped out. Literally, entire storylines mapped out. So keep track of that one. Jadub says, okay, so he's gone behind the paywall. Multiple names that we, yeah, okay, so that's already been put out there. Comment says nothing, that's why paywalls suck for the most part. Yeah, basically. Collyhue. Oh, that makes me feel dirty and weird. Oh, that's like a cutesy me. Ugh. Yeah. I feel slimy now. Collyhue. That is a pet name I'm not ready for. Therefore, being told to F off would be so funny. It's my brand. My brand is abusive. And I know it works with Nemesis Paradox because of both John Robertson fans. That man has called me a cunt on like 15 occasions. It's fantastic. First, John Rossap on Twitter from Michael, direct quote. We were told that Nick Khan specifically is willing to take the lead and did not seem concerned about prior plans, projects, who the person is married to, how long they've been signed, or what they have going on. That is basically exactly what we're saying here. Exactly what we're saying here. Essentially confirms everything we're saying here. Sean Ross Sapp has been confirming a lot of what we've been saying today. A lot of it. But yeah, we've already had this. The video that came out on the 30th of May covered a lot of this, just a lot of this exact information about Nick Khan. So if you want this exact information that you're getting now from Sean Ross Sapp, go on my YouTube. It's right there. It says custard hue. Something I should never say again. I actually can't have custard. I can't have milk. I'm lactose intolerant. So how dare you try and kill me like that? Jacob says, to be clear, I don't fall for paywalls. I was dissecting the tweet that tries to get you going into the paywall. Gotcha. Gotcha. Who would rip the best promo? You are Barbati. Oh, Ed. Ed, we're gonna have words, mate. We're gonna have words. Me and you are gonna have words, mate. No. No. Absolutely not. No. No. I am also technically a bastard, yes. My father is a dickhead. Is this what this channel has descended into? Is this what we are now? Oliver, I'm basically accepting it from you because you've basically bankrolled me for the past 2 weeks. But still, pick your moments. I am a delicate flower. Riffing says Nick Khan should be called the Terminator. The Carninator? See, the Carninator? I cut promos for you. I have channel points for cutting promos. I pretend to be The Rock. I whip out a 500-piece jigsaw. I cut promos for a living, kind of, but not really. Are they? Cows am I? Mike says, is Khan behind all of these releases? Why people are blindly hating Vince? Because it's sort of the mentality in WWE to hate Vince McMahon. If you're a WWE fan, you've been trained over the course of the Attitude Era to hate Vince McMahon. So you naturally hate Vince McMahon. He likes it. He loves it. But yes, Khan is behind all of these releases, as I've mentioned for weeks now. You're not getting away with that easily. Oh, hang on. Oliver says, love The Office, look into the camera there. Oh, no. None of that. None of that. I do not respond to Tommy. Boo. But thank you. I worked hard on that. I'm glad you spotted it. Right. We have a telling off of Vince McMahon for not signing me sooner. And we have a whole rigmarole here. A whole rigmarole for this. We're going to have some Vinces in the chat. Everyone who has subscribed, you've got a Vince McMahon emote. Drop it in the chat for me. Because Vince, I know you're watching. I know you enjoy these streams. I know you love these streams. I sometimes suspect that you release people like a bitch just to get these streams going, just to push my buttons, just to piss me off, just to rile me up. And Vince Oliver has questions. We always have questions. We're always disappointed in you. But Oliver wants to know why I've not been signed. Forget the fact that I've never been trained. Not important. Forget the fact that I've never taken a bump. Not important. I've been in fights. I've been beaten up before. Notice I didn't say I've won fights. I've just been in fights. I'm a little guy. Vince, make the signing. Make the call. Make it happen. Oliver needs it. Otherwise, you're just watching us all struggle. And we all hate you for that. You are a bad Vince. Anyway, news. Trizzy says Kurt Stallion confirmed he's been released, so there's another from 205 Live. Is there going to be a 205 Live after this? Fine. Fine. Lots of Vinces in the chat. Lots of Vinces. Thank you very much, guys, for lots of Vinces in the chat. All of us seem to like that. You are selected for WWE Performance Center. Please visit next week. No worries, Oliver. And anyone who still thinks that Nick Barbati is a better promo than me, go to hell. Hippo Bray says 205 Live on TV in USA. I don't believe it is. I believe it is purely on the USA Network. Has it got to Peacock? That's a good question. Anyone who watches, has it got to Peacock? Is 205 Live on Peacock yet? Because naturally, a lot of people don't have the WWE Network over in the US because they're not supposed to. So it's a good question. If 205 Live isn't there in the US, that's basically everyone who watched it gone, and there aren't exactly many. Roofing says, why Vince McMahon is more famous, more popular than his wrestlers, including John Cena, Austin, and The Undertaker. See more fans talking more about Vince and the rest of his roster, including main eventers. Simple reason for this, longevity. Just longevity. Vince McMahon has been there forever, and he's been regularly on TV forever. More than John Cena, more than Austin, more than The Undertaker. Austin really didn't last very long. Oliver says, Vince will personally dance to your new stupid entrance music. He better had to. He better had to, because I'm kicking his ass all the way down that ramp. Drizzy says, yeah, it's only on Peacock and WWE Network. So 205 Live is on Peacock. Vince still has Mystique too, never does interviews or anything. Fascinating, we never hear from it. Really keeps him interesting. Very true. He knows how to create a buzz. He knows how to create a buzz. You guys are scaring me. You guys are scaring me. Right, okay. It is time to call it there. Definitely time to call it there. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you, everyone who has given bits, who has subscribed, who has gifted subscriptions. Thank you, everyone who has chatted, everyone who clicked like over on YouTube, everyone who has followed. This has been a very busy stream and a very dark time, unfortunately. But it is what it is. And I've got to say huge thank you to everyone who has kept me thoroughly entertained today. We are up to 217 followers. We've got, in the course of today, I think we've gained 8 subscribers. Large part of that, thank you to Oliver, but we've also had Hippo Bray, we've had Ed Fries, and I believe, who was it? J-Dub, who has renewed their subscription. If you are an Amazon Prime user, you can subscribe for absolutely free. Costs you absolutely nothing as long as you've linked your account. You just go to subscribe, drop-down menu after hitting follow, and you can subscribe there. I still get the financial benefit, and it costs you absolutely nothing. I built this chair myself. Clearly badly. No. He's a massive Republican. No. He'd be another Donald Trump. Also, to be fair, he'd probably win, so let's not do that. The neighbors don't. There's no one on that side, and I've already checked with her next door, and she's fine with it. I got to meet her dog yesterday. It was amazing. Will Jackson Riker be next US champion? No. I'm going to wrap it up there. That's the last comment I'm going to read. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you for ensuring that I had a pretty good day here. We don't know what happened there. We will be back. Ooh. Literally every time. I feel like I'm costing people their jobs now. The Bollywood boys are gone from 205 Live. The list is getting longer and longer. The Bollywood boys are gone. Oh, God. Have WWE released an article now? Have they released a formal article? Oliver, I actually wouldn't be against that. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would not be against that. Hello, Corey, mate. Hello. Corey has redeemed a 24/7 championship win. So let's give a new VIP to Corey MLB, our new 24/7 champion. Welcome to the show. Yeah, here's the thing. Average viewership on my shows is low. The Final Fantasy shows, for example, have an average viewership of 2. Just 2. Just 2. Now, there are many ways that we can potentially boost this. People who come in and maybe lurk, just maybe lurk, could be really, really beneficial. There are lots of other ways to grow the channel, as it were, as well. But it's one of those. As long as there are viewers, I'm boosting my watch hours on YouTube, and that is what will get me to 1,000 subscribers. That is what will get me to monetization, because you need 4,000 hours of watch time. And obviously on Twitch, I'm getting followers right now, so there is benefit to staying on. But once I drop below 7.6 viewers, then there isn't actually that much benefit anymore. Oliver Gom has reclaimed the 24/7 championship. Oliver Gom claiming VIP, and that means an un-VIP for Corey MLB. Welcome to the show, Corey, by the by. So yeah, when I drop below 7 viewers, it becomes detrimental to keep going. But as long as we are higher than that, we're fine. Right, Corey says, hi guys, welcome Corey. Riff says, I've seen a post on the internet with some of the most controversial humors. I've seen dictators and terrorists, and I've seen Vince McMahon too. Interesting. Interesting. Sorry, Oliver. Nightbot has its things. Genuinely does. It's a bit of a dick. Dre says, Arturo Ruas is on WWE alumni now. Are we sure he wasn't before? Let's check it for sure. Corey says, who got released today? Right, guys, let's list. So, we definitely have the writer who came clean about not knowing much about wrestling, Kenise Mobley. She's definitely gone. In addition to that, Tony Nese, Aria Davari, Everrise, Fandango, August Gray, Tyler Breeze, the Bollywood Boys, Singh Brothers, as it were, and I may be missing one. I may be missing one. I may be missing one there. But a lot. Mostly from 205. Toxic Predator says I didn't even know Fandango was still in WWE. Kurt Stallion. Kurt Stallion's the other one. Yep, he's been in NXT for a long time now, and apparently that was that. Tyler Breeze as well. Apparently that's that. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. So yes, at this point, I'm scrolling through. There is a rumor that Xavier Woods only has 6 months left on his contract. I can't 100% confirm that because they may extend his contract. They may extend it due to his time off injured. I have to ask the question, is there a future for 205? Let's get in a poll. Will you be watching 205 live today? All I'm going to say, I'm going to make a poll. Yes. No. I can go for 0 days and 3 hours. So I just made a poll on Twitter. Will you be watching 205 live today? Yes or no? Jinder Mahal's going to be upset. Is that the same Davari who's with Hassan? Thought he was an agent now. I don't think so. I think that there's 2 Davaris. I think Aria Davari is a younger brother who was not with Hassan. I'm not entirely sure. Also be interesting to see how many people watch it all. True. Riff believe that WWE should scrap 205 Live by now. You're not alone in believing that. I'm going to wrap it up now. Unless a big name is released, I will not be back until SmackDown. Okay? I will not be back until SmackDown. I've already been live for nearly 3 hours, and at this point, I'm just going to wrap it up and call it there. If you want to watch SmackDown with me and you are currently watching this on YouTube, please come over to twitch.tv/Tom Colohue. That is the only place you can watch the SmackDown watch along. So please come over. Marco Russo, who's this? That's not a name I know, Riff thing. Is this someone who's been released? Not a name I'm seeing. Marco, I'm now coming out and saying this can be the end of your career or the beginning. The decision is yours. Now go be you. And of course, if 205 Live, Marco Ruas. Again, not a name I know. If something big happens, like the announced cancellation of 205 Live, I will, of course, come on to comment about it. Marina? I don't know any of these names at this point, so I can't really comment on them. I genuinely can't comment on them. So I'm going to call it there. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. We'll see you again for SmackDown's watch party, if not before. I've been Tom Colohue. Please do remember to follow over on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Tom Colohue. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Click like on the video. And I do have a video that was released about 4 hours ago about Sasha Banks and her future with the WWE. Please check that out. Until then, I've been Tom Colohue. Thank you very much for watching.